saw a question on a marriage subreddit the other day that kind of pulled on my heartstrings. The woman had been married a while, but she felt that no matter how many times she asked her husband to meet her emotional needs, he would only do it for a little while and then it would drop off again. And then she would re-ask and they would just end up fighting about it. And that even when he did do it, it felt disingenuous because she had asked him to do it. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing the answer that I gave her on that post about what I would do in that situation and what you can do if you're in the same situation. And before we get into it, I just want to remind you that you're not selfish, you're not asking too much. It's literally your marriage, it's literally the most important emotional support system that you have. And in the words of Florence Given, you deserve the whole cake, not just the crumbs. Hello lovers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy. I am your Married AF relationship coach. If you want support to build a long-lasting happy marriage with your husband, then you are in the right place, and the subscribe button is just there when you're ready to join the Married AF community. For even more personalized support, the link to apply to work with me is just below. So feeling like your partner isn't putting in effort or that it declines over time is a pretty common problem, and it can leave you feeling neglected, like you're putting in way more effort than your partner, and like your partner isn't being very romantic because you're asking for it. In the words of Denise Duffield Thomas, you don't get what you want, you get what you ask for. Like, I just want to be very clear. I still ask Carl for everything, and it doesn't make it less romantic. So I ask him to plan dates, I ask for specific things for my birthday, and it might feel slightly less special or maybe a bit robotic to begin with, but guess what? I get the things that I want. And whenever I ask him, it gives him the opportunity to step up. Like for my birthday, I always want like a super vibey champagne and coffee and balloons and flowers and cake, and then he goes and executes it. My birthday is still magical even though I'm asking for it. However, it does still require him to put in effort. He is uniquely wonderful at stepping up when I do ask for something. Slightly different if you're asking and then it just never happens at all. Different problem. So like I said to this woman in this post, at some point her partner is going to have to understand that she will either one, go and find that emotional need somewhere else, or two, be miserable in the most important relationship in her life. Neither of which are ideal. Neither of which should be an acceptable outcome to him just because he doesn't see himself as romantic. He can play the too tired card, or already trying hard enough, or already done it, or even the you're nagging me card. But I know from previous relationships, I begged them to meet my emotional needs for words of affirmation. And if your partner doesn't step up, you will look for it somewhere else. That's the bottom line here. And if you're interested, I do go into this in a lot more detail in my Once a Cheater video, which I will link below. So my umbrella advice is pretty simple. It's pretty black and white. You either want something or you don't. You're either willing to put effort into your marriage or you're not. At a certain point, you must be willing to step up and love your partner in the way that you promised when you got married. And this is what I teach women in one-on-one coaching, to rearrange their life so that their marriage becomes the focus again. And so things like communication, connection, and meeting each other's emotional needs becomes a default, not something that you do sometimes or when you feel like it or when your partner asks. Again, all the links to work with me are below. So coming back to answering that question, like how do I get my partner to put in more effort? There's a few quick things that I would do if I was in the same situation. So number one, and this is something I learned off my own coach, was I would speak my own love language to myself first. In the meantime, I would speak it to myself. So I love it when Carl plans dates. So I would plan a date for myself. I'd buy myself flowers. I would write myself love letters. Number two is that I would put aside time to talk about this without making them feel attacked, and to say exactly what you're feeling. And this is just good communication advice, full stop, but try not to generalize what you're saying. Like, try to avoid using language like you never do if he is sometimes doing it. So during this conversation, you also need to make it extremely clear that you need him to step up because you feel unloved, because you feel unhappy, because you feel neglected, and that you would love to work on this. And it's a good opportunity to ask if he needs anything in return. Like maybe you're not speaking one of his love languages. And it all goes round in circles. It's give and take, it's cause and effect. For example, in the book His Needs, Her Needs, Dr. Harley talks about the connection between sex and affection. And this is hyper generalized, but like he wants sex, she wants affection, but she needs affection before she has sex, and vice versa. So you both need to be giving and then receiving in return. So the third thing I do is to write a list of things that he has done that you absolutely love. You know, like the flowers, the planning dates, and then you're kind of creating a cheat sheet of how to love you. I say this all the fucking time. It's not a test. You can just tell him what you want. So number 4, I would acknowledge what he is already doing, and you can do this while you're writing your cheat sheet. If you do read His Needs, Her Needs, which I 100% recommend, by the way. This is something that comes up. Learning how to love and acknowledge what they're already doing is way more effective than pointing out all the things that they're not doing. Like, this is just Psych 101. Next, while you're working through all of this, write everything down. It's super easy to fall into that it never happens, and actually maybe it does. Like, give yourself proof that he's already doing it. And lastly, I'd maybe look at something like James Clear's Atomic Habits. The way to get something stuck in routine and doing it all the time is basically to make it part of who you are. Make it a personality trait. Just as an example, it's not, I'm going to include dirty talk in the bedroom. It's just an example from the Reddit post. Instead, your husband could be saying something like, I am the husband that takes care of my wife's needs, and she loves dirty talk, so that's what I'm gonna do. You need to ingrain that shit. And like I said, it can feel a little bit robotic and like it's not genuine, but it's either that or it just never being done. Let it feel unnatural for a while. Again, this is Psychology 101. When you're making changes like this, it takes like 2 weeks for the limbic system to catch up. So it takes like 2 weeks for it to feel right. And that can come down to what I call couple branding, like repeating stuff over and over again until it becomes who you are as a couple. For example, we are the couple that puts in effort every day. We're the couple that doesn't do things we don't want to do. That's me and Carl. We're the couple that meets each other's needs every day simply because we love each other. So create a joint value system that you can keep coming back to. I will keep saying this till the end of time. Putting in effort continuously is the price of an amazing, happy, long-lasting marriage. If you want support to do this and to reprioritize your marriage so that you feel deeply connected, you can apply to work with me through the links below or DM me directly on Instagram at LucyBecker_. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love having you here. Like I said, when you are ready to join the Married AF community, you can hit the subscribe button below and then come and join us on Instagram. I love having you all here, and I will see you in the next video.